Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to all my new and old friends. Welcome. Let's talk about some alchemy, some spiritual alchemy. I'm Cindy Carter, an intuitive, an artist, an energy healer, and a spirit consultant. This series of alchemy podcasts each Sunday are about bringing new ideas for you to transmute the life that you're leading. As the alchemist, you're remembering who you are as divinity. The last podcast, we talked about the expansive view of universality. That view of your life, the view of your perceptions. It's like a universal view. It's a higher aspect of witnessing the world and your life in it. And when you have a higher aspect of you operating, it's like you have a higher road of perception that you can witness from the vista. It's like being able to see your expansiveness, to see the past, present, and future all at once. A universal view might be inclusive of all views, but it'll have a, singular truth that goes beyond any time or any space. We kept talking about universality, and I talk about a universal view, but when I talk about views, that's kind of the way I speak, so I needed to, define this a little bit so others can understand how I'm witnessing, how I'm seeing. Through universality, when you accept that you can view through a 360-degree peripheral view of your life, it's like your higher self is viewing the life of you, and you're so connected to your witness, from your higher place, that you see yourself and your progress, and this allows you to harmonize your emotions, your mental monkey mind, your outbursts, your neglect of yourself, by seeking harmony. By seeing from a higher aspect is what I'm talking about. So a perfect move into this podcast would be to, after you see this view of all life, maybe you need to trust the plan. A main attribute of a higher view is trust. You trust what you've seen, what you've been through, when you're going through it now, and what you'll eventually go through. But this higher place of trust catapults you into life force proliferation. Yes, I said the word proliferation. That happens to be my favorite word, by the way. It's part of the immortal nature of ancient Hermetic science, this proliferating life idea. It's about accelerating life, not duplicating life. It's an ongoing development of divine source energy. And I see this coming through the cellular body. So I understand it on a cellular level as well as many other dimensional levels. But when I constantly get shown it at a cellular level, it's very easy to attribute it on any dimension because the earth is doing the same thing that our cells are doing. We are part of an immortal nature. We are part of an ancient Hermetic science that's happening right now, that we're trying to catapult a life force, proliferate a life force. This is divine source energy, and it's part of a divine plan. The divine plan. There is one, Of course, we live in a free will planet structure ship thing, and this plan can get rerouted or it can get delayed. But it will go on. It's all part of the plan. It's part of the journey of the divine plan. There's a higher energy that does take over lower energy on Earth. That's a science. It's also, part of the divine plan. As free will artists, we get to paint whatever picture we want and create all kinds of realities or false realities. A divine plan reality would be a life based in accelerating life in all things, in your thoughts and your views and your agreements and your actions based in life, not death. in upward and moving through life without impingement. This is the idea of sovereign expression as a spirit. So it's to trust yourself so deeply, to trust the universe so deeply, that you empower yourself beyond your known and your unknown limitations. It's more likely that your lack of power is self-imposed because of past experiences, not that you're the victim of the experiences, not when you repeat them over and over. You have the choice, but based on rhetoric, based on what others have gifted you as ideas, we make different choices. And we don't want to live in lack of power. That would be basing our future in what has gone on in the past. That's not proliferation of life force. That's regurgitation of the trauma of the past, or repeating the past, repeating the trauma. At a cellular level, this is called mitosis, when you duplicate the trauma, duplicate the cell. We also talk about the recycling bin. That's where we duplicate the traumas. So I'm choosing not to do that. I'm choosing sovereign expression, sovereign immortal life, to allow higher consciousness in and out of my body without the body having to go through recycling. It's kind of interesting how choice is achieved here. So what if you are duplicating trauma unknowingly? We all do it at some point. Perhaps you engage in self-limiting beliefs, like, I'll just give you an example, like I'm too old to get a job. I'm 58 now, and so I hear my friends say this stuff. I'm not employable because I'm over 55. Well, these are all beliefs that someone planted in your head, maybe as a child, maybe as a teen you heard these words, maybe as a young adult. And then as an adult, it's reinforced every day. That's why they give you big pharma medications. That's why the internet tells you that you need to, take something because you're old, because you're worthless, because you're less than. What? It may be a fact that less people get hired over 55, but is that you? Really you? Is that statistic you? Is that random fact from afar? Is that your current reality? And if it is, and you aren't being hired because you're activating your action through lack and a predisposed kind of mind control, you might have a belief system that you're unemployable to begin with. Then you go out to a job interview. Do you think you're going to be the first one hired when you're already activating your actions through lack? And you already have a predisposed mind that has told you over and over that you are worthless. Wow. Or there may be an even older person with a positive outlook on life and a person that doesn't accept the negative narrative of society or their family or their negative thinking friends to affect their vibration. And that person may get the job. Believe me, you can be overqualified for most jobs, but your inner yes to life is what gets you the job. It's not the resume. I only use this one example. There are so many more. I'm getting them as, cellular body influence. You do live in a cellular body, and you do express energy from one. All day and all night, whether you realize it or not, you express your ancientness, your naivety, naivety is what I meant, your multidimensional expressions, all of them. Your innocence, your grandeur. These are all the versions of you as consciousness that tries to, to live in your body and live in your mind and live in your expressions. This is what we're talking about. It's you being the alchemist. It's about being the alchemist of your remembrance. Remember, this is about like what you vibrate is what you get. It's so true. In essence, if you're vibrating the proliferant life, the life force of movement through, of movement beyond, but remaining in the core of the vibration of life and life-affirming thoughts, not the narrative of your past mistakes, not the past outlooks or other people's outlooks. Even if you are naturally negative, there are many people, that are naturally negative. They're kind of like Debbie Downers to anything positive or anything uplifting. Well, your cynical, sarcastic ass is in complete self-sabotage of the pure love and acceptance that lies within you. Truly. The sarcasm is your mechanism to engage with undercutting passive-aggressive energy coming out of your body before you even think it. This is what I'm talking about. What are you proliferating? Are you proliferating the trauma or the life? Your inner attitude exudes out of your body and into the fields around you. It influences the dimensions and the octaves of energy in the atmosphere. It affects and influences people around you. The consciousness of you in all places and all times. This is a lot of responsibility. Believe me, I know. How you vibrate right now is really important. How you claw yourself out of depression, how you claw yourself out of the downward way that you look at life is one way to bring awareness and peace back to your life. Trust yourself, no matter what's going on. With the truthful vibration of life, affirming life within each cell, this is happening. But we stop the process with our mind, with our thoughts, what we think has to happen. That proliferating life force that permeates your mind and your decisions. This is how you get out of sarcasm, out of self-sabotage and negative spirals of all kinds. Trust the universal flow. For once, stop protecting yourself from yourself. And let the vibration of love come from you and then back to you. Have you ever done that? Do you trust that there is even love within you? It's okay to show another side of yourself to yourself. You might have been known as a snarky, funny, quick-witted one, but what is that underlying vibration? Is it kind? Is it helpful? Is it self-serving? Or is it one-upping someone? Is it making yourself bigger or right and them wrong? The vibration of trusting the plan is just knowing that there is a plan to trust. And part of this is trusting the mystery of life, trusting the mystery of the plan. Dang it, some of you are saying, but my mental body wants to know, like, where and why and who and what and how. Some people's minds say, I want answers to every life's mystery. Like yesterday. Those are all the linear thinkers, non-trusters, that life works differently, that you have, then you've observed that. Life works really different than the linear deal. This is quantum now. And all the dimensions are collapsing, so your awareness has got to be pretty keen and focused because the unawareness is huge. And your unawareness has not been really given enough time to assimilate a more universal view of life when you're all caught up in distractions. But you do need to see that there is a source within you and a source plane of existence and a choice of alignment with a divinity. Or you can align with a false matrix. That matrix of societal life that tells you how to live your life. It's a non-organic timeline, but divinity is the organic timeline. Christ consciousness, God's source, whatever you want to call the universal structure of life. But there is a non-organic timeline. It may look like transhumanism or Satanism or gender mishmash or artificial intelligence or hatred or division or distraction. Distraction from the plan is what takes people out of the game of ascending their spirit within them. I personally have to remove myself from many distracting things to keep myself moving forward in my spirit. Removing myself from distractions, I have to be kind of focused on myself to heal and myself to gain more awareness of my own life. So I find that I have had to, remove myself for many years now from media, from stories, from narratives of any kind. Really, I'm at the point of, no opinions by other humans will I accept as my own until I form my own. That doesn't mean I'm not aware of what's happening. It's the opposite. I'm having a universal view of all of it while not being in it. This is observing from a higher aspect and allowing the plan to work itself out. And I make my movements based on what my divine nature tells me, what my divine voice is saying, my inner knowing, my gut instinct. Not what the society and the accepted ways of society of engaging or gathering information tells me. Like in groups of people, I have to be strong in my energy field. That I trust the plan, that I trust my own energy over the ideas and unknown actions of other people. That way I don't ever become the victim of other people's stuff. So my energy, does have an effect on other people. It activates them just by me breathing, doing nothing. And I have to be strong in my own compassion for myself and my knowing of my divine plan to not continually be affected by other people and their distractions. So when clients engage me in their distractions, I really often don't reply. And that may seem rude. But if I feel that what is being engaged is a complete distraction, I'm just not going to engage it. I'm trusting the divine plan that I'm part of, that every human is part of. We remember who we are. To remember who you are during your day minus the distraction. Well, how do you choose to do that? Perhaps just by being spontaneous today and not overthinking things. By being open and honest today instead of cloaking every dang thing you do because somebody's going to attack you for it. How about being open and honest with compassion and only doing it in the kindest way without having to, prove anything to anyone? No one cares. And even if they do, it doesn't matter. It's not yours. How about being, in the present moment, in your body, right now? That's a big thing. A lot of people right now aren't even in their bodies. What about looking at your own pain? That's needed right now. This is not love and light worship. This is looking at your own pain and transmuting it to a higher thought. That raises your vibration, not just looking at the love and light. Or unplug your TV and the narrative that bombards your aura all day. Put yourself in situations where the air is sweeter. The foods are kinder. Or you could allow your innocence and your vulnerability to be shown. These are how you remember who you are. This is how you remember who you are during the day, minus the distraction. Making a choice. Be spontaneous. Be open. Be honest. Be present. Look at your pain and transmute it. And unplug the freaking TV. Distractions of all kinds keep us tethered day in and day out with not living our truth. You're not living your truth when you're living a distraction or the distraction of someone else. You're not trusting the divine plan. There are versions of you in higher planes, like majestic consciousness that's based in sacred spaces, that's waiting on your acceptance of the consciousness within you. It certainly can't operate in your consciousness if you're continually reliving your past lives or repeating past life stories and all your wounds right here on earth. Let's get through that, please. How much of the trusting of the divine plan lives within your thoughts about your past lives? Or your current lives, for that matter? If you bring trust to your past, for witnessing and seeing your past with clear eyes and a clear heart, you do change the perception of the effect it has on your current energy field. Or do you just like being miserable? Do you like being overlooked, forgotten, lonely? Just look at yourself. That's what people say. Look at yourself. This is how you do it. You bring trust to your past and witness and see your past with clear eyes and clear heart. This is the alchemy. This is the spiritual alchemy of looking through all the dark strands of existence, of all your distractions, of all the trauma and the threads of trauma that hold you back from that harmonic life and that love and the freedom that you lives within you, within yourselves. Take a nice overall look, a nice universal view of the trauma, of the distractions in your life that keep you from the divine portion of you. The divine portion that lives with excitement for each day, even with the world the way it is. I'm excited for the future because I've witnessed the flourishing of life that is to come. I'm not wallowing in the past life views and limitations of the mind or the mind control of a government or society to dictate how I'm to witness my life and the life around me. We're not all in a shitty place, even if you think that all of humanity's in a shitty place. We're all not just being controlled. Some of us are choosing otherwise. To witness the real plan, the divine plan, to trust the inner heart space that holds the compassion, that wants to be the cumulative consciousness of so many versions of yourself, right here in this body. But today, you might get all freaked out because you broke your big toe. It's kind of part of being human in a human body. You and all the other earthlings that have broken their big toes today, well, we send you, the hope of rapid healing, but there's many more volatile things that happen on this earth. Please put your life in perspective. It's just a toe. Change your perspective back to a gratitude for your overall life. That there is a life force that works on your behalf, a higher expression of life that guides you, that trusts the plan. There will be many things that change soon, if they're not already changing in your life. Trust it. Your heroes are going to change. Your news outlets are going to probably change. Your social media hangouts will probably change. Your view of all of life may change, and what you've been told may all be upturned. I hope you hold yourself in compassion and that you trust yourself and trust the divine plan. And please go with the freedom of allowing yourself non-judgment. Some aligned choices with your divinity while you go through this upturning. You can ask yourself, what would my heart want? What would my heart respond to right now? Then do the thing that your heart would say. Be reasonable, be conscious, be focused, but by all means have your own best interest at heart. This will ripple the proliferant life force through all that you do and all that you vibrate. Trust the plan. Trust the mystery. Get over yourself and your insignificant disappointments and gain a new perspective of life. that holds a cosmic grandness of realms of information and upliftment, of healing and sharing the grace of life. Graceful thoughts and graceful actions and graceful movements allow your life to be more fulfilling and more respectful of the spirit within you. Trust the plan. I do have a fast track to allow grace into your life. This helps you trust the plan. This grace template that I have on my website is an MP3 download series of 11 days of grace. It's an activation, a cellular activation. It activates the 7 bodies around you to allow and receive grace. You can find it on my website. It's just $33 US, and it really can give you a rapid start to your higher awareness. I also have a free ebook called Solene, the Ancient One. You can also check out my upcoming workshops or online learning opportunities. I do look forward to our continuing talks of alchemy, of remembering ourselves as wholeness, about expanding our being in quantum ways. And I do respect your resistance at taking in higher information. But please trust the divine plan and trust yourself. Many blessings.